And welcome back to Abstraction Cup for the round of 32 showcase, the Mappool showcase. Y'all have been waiting for those maps. Y'all have been choking on the round of 64 Mappool, and you're gonna choke even more on this Mappool because it's gonna be more difficult. Teehee, as one says. Let me introduce ourselves, I guess, before we go into the meat of things. I am Paturages. I'll be the quote-unquote host of this Mappool showcase, and I'll be accompanied by LivelyPeninsula and Polytetral. Lovely ladies.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Yes, this is LivelyPeninsula. You can just call me Elves or whatever name you want because I understand it's a very long name. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. This is Siloaska Elves. That's my old name, also known as now LivelyPeninsula. That's me. And with me would be. Come on, Polytetral.
Is there time for me to say something?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hey, everyone. I'm not shy. I'm just, I was just wondering because I kind of like cues. I'm Polytetral anyway, so, so we'll be hosting the round of 32 Mappool showcase today for Abstraction Cup. I have not seen the pool at all. I think the only person with any idea of how the pools look like is actually Paturages, and I think
true.
we're gonna be in for a ride, I would assume.
Did I just type !MP in the Twitch chat? I'm so stupid. Anyways.
No, it is MP. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just realized that. Whoops.
That's not MP, by the way. It's like actual edit I think. Anyways, yeah. Oh, the command does not exist. I don't know what is the command. We don't really care. It's shown on the screen. Anyways, do we want to begin right now, or is there something else that I'm missing?
Aside from the fact that we're not updating the commentator list, I don't really think so.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, the commentator name's literally at the bottom. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's on the screen. That's what I was saying. It's just on the bottom right of the screen. Like, can you read the screen? If you are blind and you're listening into our voices, we introduced ourselves by voice already. It's fine. Anyways, let's go into this race number 1. That's gonna be Super Rotation, custom mapped by Wolfview. Rather than a straight speed pick, this is gonna be rather light jump stream oriented. That's what you're gonna see in the drop that's coming up soon-ish, I would say. The main difficulty of the map is in the drop itself, and as you can see, it's like very the motion is like very light jump streamish rather than streamy, but it is still a challenge of speed.
Yeah, I was gonna say the introduction looked relatively innocuous until we get into this drop, the drop that you saw earlier on, and there's just a lot of streams. It's pretty. I mean, for the meta right now, I think it looks kind of straightforward, but yeah, it's still pretty intimidating for accuracy battles.
Well, that is true. The thing about patterns like this is there's like a lot of players who will be able to like accurately hit these, but at the same time, if you focus too much on accuracy, chances are you're gonna find some chokes here and there. But there's also like the risk of rushing or dragging on some of these speed patterns. I have to say though, it's a very interesting chart with how it is. And also, the difficulty is a lie because this chart actually ends.
Oh, yeah, it's not eternal, and it's not spin eternally by Camellia either.
Exactly.
I mean, wouldn't it be super cool to have like a storyboarded map for as part of your map pool?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The ultimate abstraction.
Yeah, that is
Ooh.
true. That is indeed an abstraction, but I think it's too much abstraction, even for Abstraction Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah, it needs to live up to its name.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be one of the most straightforward picks of this pool, but the snaps themselves are kind of not super straightforward. It's kind of a back and forth between slow and 1/6 bursts here and there. So it's a fair amount of control required to get good accuracy on, and I do feel like especially in early game, having control is one of the most useful skill sets that you may want to have, especially in the winners bracket. Lower bracket is going to be another story, but it kind of depends on your opponent, really.
Oh no, I've definitely seen some of the opponents in the lower bracket, and it's like pretty scary. Even then, I think a little scary is a little bit of an understatement too, because like a lot of the teams in this tournament are just insanely good at what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, let's go into rise number 2. It's going to be the jump stream / hand stream oriented map. Okay, I did mention that the previous map would be one of the most straightforward maps, but I think this one should be the most straightforward map. But it is not 100% straightforward because some of the patterning of this jump stream / hand stream map, as you can see right now, is very trilly in nature.
Why does this remind me of that one chart Atang played? Was it the Last Swing Unicorn? There we go, the Last Swing Unicorn. That first part reminded me of that.
Do it.
What is this?
And welcome to Anchor City, apparently, in the verse. So this is not gonna be straight up autopilot jump stream, hand stream for like, I don't know, 4 minutes, 3 minutes and a half. This is gonna be kind of a switch up between versus mix of light chord jacks and a little bit of events here and there, just very basic holds. And basically the very trilly jump stream, hand stream, trilly interactions here and there. So definitely reminiscent of how difficult it was for some teams to maintain the Rana 64 pucks to jump stream, hand stream pick.
I think this is, well, I mean, obviously aside from the BPM itself, I think there is a little bit more anchors involved. Or at least it doesn't feel so comfortable to play, especially with some of the anchors, as you mentioned earlier on, else. And, well, not to mention some of these trivial long notes. I hope they are trivial for you.
Yeah, you definitely hope that. But I'd like to say, those patterns definitely will make you unhappy, but I think it's kind of a lie again, because the patterns that will make you unhappy are at the start and not at the very end. It is the refrain after all, right? And doesn't refrain usually at the very end?
I was gonna not say that.
Well, too bad, okay? But what makes this chart really hard is, I think you both mentioned it already, like some of those anchors can make you really uncomfortable. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Polly, even though some of these elements look, something you could play naturally, I think on a very, like, let's say you're very nervous and all that, you could easily mess those LNs up. So it's gonna require a lot of focus to get those done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, also that that continuous chord. I think really this map does require a little bit of switching around between patterns. Like I find it especially difficult, especially when you're going from like a dense jump stream sequence. into something that's like a trill and then like a chord, like it's very hard to kind of sync your fingers together. So like if you kind of fail to synchronize, it can be like a little bit of accuracy drop.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with saying that this map is not autopilot at all. The thing is, if you try to autopilot this, you're gonna mind block it. You're gonna make a mistake somewhere, and your accuracy is gonna drop like tenfold. So just gotta read properly and just articulate your fingers appropriately. And yeah, this is more so a test of consistency and mental stamina than it is, say, actual physical stamina.
Also, hi Zikuria, mom. Oh, get it? Because that's the replay name.
Wow.
I just noticed that. I didn't even see that one there.
That is really funny. Going into rice number 3 is going to be a bit of a valid proposition here in terms of meta. Usually tournaments like to introduce those so-called chord jack picks, but well, this is not gonna be your run-of-the-mill chord jack. There are gonna be a fair amount of bursts here and there, but like the main motion of this map is gonna be mainly based on 122 BPM chord jacks, but I think the greater challenge is kind of going back and forth between the chord jack motion and the motion that you need to hit those extra bursts here and there that are quite truly endearing, right?
I think the biggest thing about this chart is it's 4 minutes long. It's OD8. I think the previous chart was like OD 7.7. So this one's gonna require a bit more accuracy. What do you call it again? Focusing more on accuracy. What I'm a bit scared of, first of all, as I've said before, the length. The length will really make it choke if you're nervous and all that. Second, the patterns that I'm seeing right now, they look quote-unquote straightforward because of some of the jacks. But it's like one of those patterns that if you mess up one of those patterns or one of those notes, you're bound to miss like so many of those. So it's gonna be a very risky pick for players here.
Yeah, for sure. I know for one thing, looking at this chart is definitely not your generic chord jack pick. It's not a pure chord jack. There are a lot of mixed patterns kind of thrown in between, like short streams, mini jacks, slight bursts of patterns. And in between your chord jacks, these kind of things can really like kind of break your momentum. It's not easy, I don't think, especially when you're playing this for 4 minutes straight.
Yeah, I feel like 4 minutes is the main difficulty of this. It's another consistency pick, but I feel like it's a different consistency pick than the Rise number 2. Rise number 2 is a lot streamier consistency and not a lot more mental, I would say, because of the mind blockiness of the patterns due to how trilly they are and how anchory they are. This is a lot less anchory and is more so how you keep, I would say, a posture to hit all of those chord jacks and bursts here and there. So a lot of switch between motions and so on. So this is probably closer to the kind of consistency that would require at least some form of physical stamina rather than Rise number 2, which is going to require arguably more mental stamina than physical stamina.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention, why is Percy Cas mapping?
You know,
okay, maybe I phrased that wrongly.
I have a bigger question. Why is Persica's mapping not like LN? I would expect this to be an LN pick, you know?
So,
Does Percy Cas my Owen?
So the fun fact is that the notes that you're seeing on the screen are actually LNs, but they're all cut.
Well, I would like to make an interjection there. It says they're uncut version.
Oh. What a plot twist.
Okay,
So
but I also would like to add, you have to be careful because it's 4 minutes long, and you wouldn't want to hyperventilate in the middle of the song. Am I right?
Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
That,
Oh,
that's
but
basically how you win this pick. You don't hyperventilate. You win. There. End of the story.
I think it's even harder not to hyperventilate at some of these like shorter snaps things. And
Oh, I
like,
agree.
going into
I
some of
agree.
these chord transitions, they're kind of brutal.
Hmm.
It's almost like playing a chord stream, but like it's faster probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Don't be like Curry and catch a 100 somewhere. I didn't even catch
Yeah,
where.
that 100, man. That 100, that's what I've been saying. Like, if you like mess up, it's probably gonna be a bad judgment, or you're gonna like get a lot of grades at some point. And that's really what makes this chart scary, especially with like such a long chart.
Yeah, you're entirely correct. And going into race number 4 is going to be a little bit of change of pace because we are going into the actual technical pool. Because yeah, what you saw before was not the technical pool. The technicality of the maps is going to increase tenfold, starting with recombination by Electron. And I feel like that map has kind of been forgotten in the times, and apparently it was used in Soft 5. But not a lot of people remember this map.
I don't remember this map at
I
all.
remember this.
I feel like everyone has forgotten about this map because it was kind of a deep cut use or deep cut upload from Electron even back then. And I don't think people just I don't think like this pick was very memorable back then, but I feel like in 2026 we can revisit this in the current context of Abstraction Cup. So let me tell you about this pick. There's a lot of bursts here and there, and it's a lot of stop and start motions, and it's basically what you can expect from an Electron tech map. So, yeah. And it's not very long as well. That's probably the first pick under 2 minutes that we had in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, short doesn't mean easy.
Well, actually, the thing about short beat maps is, while it may sound that it's easier because of the less stamina requirement, charts that are short actually mean that you need to be very precise because you cannot make one mistake. Like, lower objects means lesser room for error. So it's not like the previous two charts where if you get like a 200, it's not like the end of the world. For something like this, 1 200 will mean so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like people have to take that into consideration in their strategizing. And that's why we have longer picks and shorter picks. The shorter picks, mistakes will be much more costly, especially combo breaks. Whereas the longer picks are going to value accuracy and consistency more.
That's true, that's true.
Moving on to rice number 5, which is going to be a little bit of a surprise for many people here. It's going to be a mint map.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we have a Persicast and a Mint map here. Huh. I mean, Mint does have technical, like, rice charts, so I'm not really, like, necessarily, like, super surprised. Was this, like, a custom, or was this a...
No,
like
side by side. Yeah, side by side is actually an old dump from Min. Back then it was actually used in tournament 3.0 plus 1.0.
Oh,
1.0 essentially. So
really?
So yeah, it's basically basically a tech dump, which is sometimes very gimmicky at times because of musical representation, and it's very mint core in style in that she likes to represent some musical motifs like some of the repeating wubs here and there, which are gonna be key choke points in this 2 minutes and 49 seconds long tick.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of these flams that were involved in the earlier part of the chart, and honestly, it looks pretty brutal, even compared to the rest of the maps early on.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be, yeah, it's probably gonna
Sorry.
be pretty difficult to maintain all the way. It's probably one of the most difficult picks of the Rice Bowl. It kind of depends on well, which map is going to be more difficult for people. It's going to depend on people's preferences and specialties. But I do feel like people might have more trouble on this one specifically because it's so abrasive and chokeable. Yeah, those graces on the left hand are pretty chokeable, I dare say.
Yeah, definitely very chokeable. Gonna be a lot of those kinds of patterns, so it shouldn't really come off as a surprise that there's going to be a lot of chokeable patterns. I mean, that's really what I'm also observing here. Those rolls, oh my goodness. Wait, what round are we in again? Round of 32?
Round of 32,
Yes.
indeed.
And this is the kind of chart we're seeing. Round of 32.
Yeah,
Yes.
this isn't round of 32. This, if you have seen the players list, I do feel like we are in a precarious situation as poolers because we do have to we do have to output maps that are that difficult very early on, and to provide a challenge and to provide something for especially the winners bracket to fight between.
I mean, I definitely think that this is a chart that's technical and physical enough to kind of like stratify between the winner bracket and the loser bracket, or at least in terms of risk appetite. If you really want to go for something that's a little bit more physical, technical, this might be for you.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to be the only map that's possible to pick, because this one is actually the easier between between Rise number 5 and Rise number 6. This Rise number 5 here is definitely the easier one between the two, in my opinion at least, because what you're going into with Rise number 6 here is going to be a custom brought to us by Lurk, and if you have played any technical map from Lurk, you'll know that things are a little bit messed up. So to introduce this pick, Rise number 6 is going to be a fair amount harder than the mainstay of the pool as kind of a pooling gimmick. And I do feel like this map, not only map wise, but also song choice wise, it's gonna be more difficult to anchor yourself on and get good accuracy on. And even like keeping the combo is gonna be a challenge for a fair amount of people. And even this replay is telling us that this is very much hard to palate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely seeing how much more bursty or a little bit more volatile these some of these snaps are, even compared to side by side, which is arguably already pretty technical. That one is much more smoother. This one kind of just throws in your face, like just throws a pancake on your face and be like, "Hey, eat it." Are you hungry yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when Paturages mentioned Lurk, I was like, oh goodness, this is going to be really, really evil. And from what I'm seeing right now, it definitely lives up to that hype. I mean, Lurk's charts really test you to the edge when it comes to technical ability, and this is a really good example of that. I just know that a lot of players are still going to nail this though. But it's really just going to be up to the small numbers. Like, it's going to be up to the 200s that they're going to get, or even the ratio. So it's really going to be dependent on those very tiny edges.
Some of these rolls are just straight up brutal.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's absolutely zero comfortable patterns in this map, and it's fairly short as well, 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, I mean, it's on the shorter side.
But yeah, I feel like this is probably the most physical pick of them all, and I do want to repeat that Rise number 6 is intentionally pulled harder than the rest of the pool as something to propose for higher ended I guess the more late game oriented teams for them to choose if they're not necessarily comfortable on accuracy or consistency picks like Rise 1 or Rise 2.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's just between like your confidence on whether you are consistent enough to beat your opponent, or if you need a little bit more physicality to beat your opponent. Either way, pick your poison. Welcome to Abstraction Cup Round of 32.
Yeah,
I
get
think-
abstracted.
I think this kind of pick will favor the higher seeds a lot more. This is like the kind of pick like the higher seeds would choose against like a lower seeded player, especially on, let's say, the losers bracket. Because the thing is, when you're in the losers bracket, I think the physicality difference could be a bit big in comparison to when you're in the winners bracket. Because in the winners bracket, you kind of have a bit of everything, especially at round of 32. So I have a feeling this will be one of those picks that the higher seeded players, especially in the losers bracket, will probably try to exploit against the lower seeded players.
Indeed. It's not 100% though, because some of the lower seed teams are actually really good at late games, so gotta be careful. Gotta study your opponent. But speaking about studying, let's go into the hybrid category with hybrid number 1, which is going to be another custom coming from a combination of Epic Man 2 and Ethrax. So this is going to be fairly LN oriented as a hybrid. I would say this is a lot of LN flow, but the flow induced in here is so heavy that we consider this as kind of a speed hybrid, in the sense that it's so dumpy that the dumping element can be considered as the rise element of the hybrid, and then there's the LNs, of course, for flow. And this is banger.
I was gonna ask the question of what does this map have got to do with studying, but yeah, but anyway, this chart is definitely dumpy in its own sense as a hybrid. Very bursty, I would say. I think it's kind of pattern that really like throws you off, in the sense that like you can't really, I mean, as usual, you don't autopilot anything. But it just really tends to be very dense because of the fact that you have to read long notes, a lot of long notes along with your rise.
But regardless, I think the biggest challenge here is, okay, yes, you have those rolls, you have those short LNs. How do you mix those two, and how do you really how do you pick this? When I say how do you pick this, like, do you pick this at the start, at the middle, at the end? Because the way that I'm seeing this is, typically when you're a hybrid, when you pick hybrid, you don't want to reveal too much information, because at least hybrids have like a mix of two of them. It's not like it's specialized in one skill set for the most part. So I'm really interested in how players will pick this. I'm not sure if players would start with this choice, because you want to know first if players are good at rolls or if players can handle short LNs. So I feel like this pick will tend to be on like the middle, or maybe even at the very end. At least that's when players will probably choose this chart. So I'm just really curious on how they will strategize this chart.
I feel like it tends to be a little bit of a Hail Mary pick. I think something that you pick when you run out of choices and you kind of just have nothing else to pick that is comfortable. And then you just decide, okay, you know what? Screw it, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, I do feel like this pick in particular might be useful for teams that kind of run out of LN picks and have to go into the hybrid category. I do feel like perhaps this is one of the maps that LN teams are going to start with tackling the hybrid category, because it does have a fair amount of LN faces. And in other tournaments, those type of players might be used to LN3s or LN4s in late game. And this is the type of map that kind of fits this archetype. But yeah, going into hybrid number 2. Hybrid number 2 is going to be a little bit different, because not only is it shorter, it is also going to be a fair amount more, I would say, conventional, for lack of better terms. So this is going to be kind of an old map. Apparently it's like from 2018. So this was a qualifier for something, but given that it was mapped for a regular tournament, given that it was oh, I don't know, that's 2025, I guess. Given that it was mapped for a tournament, it does have a fair amount of conventional elements to it. So also the fact that it's mapped by oxalic acid does a fair amount of conventional stuff. So you're gonna see a lot more straightforward releases, straightforward rice and shieldy mini-Jackie interactions, what you're used to seeing in basically other, I would say, more conventional tournament hybrid picks.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. The first question that kind of popped onto my mind when I saw this was that, wow, it's a stage 3 map. I thought it'd be like more long notes, but it seems like there are a lot of shields that go along with it. So I don't know. I can't help but think what tournament this is.
Apparently
really
that's apparently that's the Peruvian qualifier. So in the notes I was given, it was apparently switched between Hybrid 2 and Hybrid 3. Thank you, Epic Man, too. Anyways, this is the more conventional type of hybrid anyways, yeah. The slots don't exist.
Yeah, I can see that it's a lot of jacks, a lot of shields. The difficulty is mostly in its physicality rather than the releases. I think if you're used to playing this kind of picks in like maybe other conventional tournaments, I think this would probably be something that's up your alley.
Well, once again, you just really have to be careful on when you're going to be choosing this. Similar to the first one, though, I think the hybrids that we've seen here, they're definitely going to be very Hail Mary-ish picks. Again, you're probably going to be seeing players picking this once like their comfortable picks have run out. But I guess I can come up with like one exception to the rule. If both teams have like very well-rounded players, I think maybe their hybrids could be their best bet, because with the hybrids they can immediately see, okay, they can probably try to go for a rice-oriented strategy or maybe an Ellen-oriented strategy, depending on what kind of hybrid they're going for. So I really just think that these players just have to be careful on the context or whatever their kind of opponent is going to be.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that's true. People could also start with hybrid too. I do think that this is probably the best hybrid to start with if you're gonna start with the hybrid category. I know some teams like to start with hybrid. That's why I'm saying this. Going into hybrid number 3 is going to complete the balance of hybrids. As you could see in the hybrid number 1, the hybrid number 1 was very Ellen oriented. This is going to be more so Rice oriented, and this is going to be a funny addition because this one comes from the very recent Mini Mapping World Cup that is currently going on, and which qualifiers were just released 2 days ago. And yes, we are literally pulling a map that was released 2 days ago.
Whoa. Wait, so does that mean we're gonna see Suteguro next week?
One of the 5 Sutegoros.
Is this League of Legends? What is League of
I-
Legends, I think?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, Trinity Force is a League of Legends item that has existed when I was still playing. And mind you, I was playing League of Legends maybe 15 years ago. Trinity Force already existed back then.
Wow.
Yeah, the
absolutely wow.
item is from season 1. I think I only played like season 4 or 5 or so.
I've never played League of Legends. But anyway, here's a little bit more of a long-oriented section of the hybrid.
Yeah, it's also pretty conventional, all things considered, but it is a fair amount more elongated than the oxalic acid hybrid. So it's a little bit, I guess it's a little bit more, I would say, there's a little bit more variety to be had in this in this category. So definitely something different. Definitely something different.
Yeah, I'm just kind of observing how the patterns kind of play out. Long notes in this are definitely more sustained. It's definitely less trivial compared to hybrid 2. And the bursts here are a little bit more, well, I guess in your way kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit more abrasive, but it's still fairly conventional by Abstraction Cup standards.
Yeah, because it's Abstraction Cup.
Wow, like these Ellen sections are, even as an Ellen player myself, they really make me nervous looking at these. With the mix of those mini Jackie patterns, I would be assuming that a lot of players would be afraid to choose this, especially if you're in a high pressure situation. This is one of those charts where, unless you have like the nerve or like the confidence to choose this is like a pick you should be going for, because this chart is a very make or break chart. I think this is gonna be one of those charts that can decide the match pretty much, especially with how many of those patterns are designed to make you drop a lot of AC or misses and etc. So you have to be really careful when you choose this.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is a very desperate kind of pick, even more so than the other 2 hybrids. This one, I doubt we'll get to see it much, but if it does, it might be pretty exciting. I guess it might be a missed party.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said before, this is basically the essence of Hail Mary, I would say. So this is a pretty risky pick. Something that you might be careful before picking, but if you're very confident on your ability to sustain this pick, then go ahead. But yeah, that was our hybrid category. Going now into the LN category, it's going to be Satella by Danny PX. It is a original song for Brawl League 2025. And yeah, that was it was composed for the occasion, and we are resurfacing it here because it is more so coordination heavy than release heavy. Mind you, as any Danny PX LN would have, there's a fair amount of release requirement here and there because of the I guess staggered one-hand stagger features here and there. And also at 200 BPM, it is fairly fast-paced coordination as well. So you really have to react to all of the all of the staggers that are thrown at you, just hold the right buttons, hold the right keys, and just focus all the way.
You could say that for literally every other map.
That's fair. That's fair. But hey, it's DynaPX. Wait, what? This is LN1. In this tournament, LN1 is this your like release chart ish?
Well,
Or
it's
something like that?
more so coordination, yeah.
Okay, coordination. Because honestly, when I think of DynaPX LNs, maybe it's just me, but I think of density more when it comes to DynaPX LNs. At least with how the 2020 to 2023 DynaPX LNs, they've been more density oriented. So this is a very interesting, it's a nice sight to see, I guess. Well, what makes this really hard, once again, I think you both already mentioned it, like the accuracy challenge here, like hoping you won't drop some 200s. I mean, 7.5 isn't a very friendly OD as well.
Yeah, oh wow, look at that 3+1. I like to call it a 3+1 because it's like something that came out of like what Interlizer maps from 2019.
Oh yeah, that is true. Oh my goodness. I can't believe, really, the 3+1 in the big 26?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 3+1 has been very influential to many different mappers, myself included, and also Lemon Guy has the more interesting, I would say, 3+1 interactions. Also,
I think it just looks nice, and then like when you play, it just feels kind of good, especially when you're on build-up sections. But anyway, 200 BPM coordination. It's a little bit too slow to cheese, but a little bit too fast to kind of, well, pretend that the releases are trivial. So it is definitely a bit of a release coordination challenge.
yeah. Happy birthday, Leon.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I pinged Leon in like 10 different discords.
Also, wait, 6-7, 6-7.
6,
Okay.
7.
What?
No, what?
What?
Where?
Look at the
Where?
bottom right. Look at the bottom right.
Okay, bro.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I didn't even see that one. Anyways, going into LN2 is going to be the quote-unquote density pick. It's gonna be slower in BPM than LN1, which is really funny. But there's an explanation for this, because LN2 puts the density in the amount of screen that it covers. But I would say LN2 is density in the sense that there's gonna be a lot of keys pressed at once, and you also have to coordinate those properly. So it's gonna be a different kind of coordination than LN1. So I think it's fairly similar to some of the wildcard slash coordination-ish densities that we had in OMLN4.
At this point, it's just a spectrum. I think we had a theory saying that everything is just a wildcard at some point.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those quote-unquote wildcards, like density-oriented wildcards.
Yeah, at least I feel like the releases in this map are still relatively uncheesable. Like, you see a lot of those releases that kind of have to be released without like a node following it. So it's kind of difficult. This kind of map is usually pretty difficult to kind of get a good ratio on, because of how much negative space you actually have to read in the map in order to understand like when to release things.
Yeah, there's a lot of those 3+1 interactions as well that you still have to read and parse at OD8, and 185 BPM requires a lot of control as well. So that's also why I wanted to mention the lower BPM compared to LN number 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of control needed. Typically, when you're in a tournament, you see round 32, okay, the BPM is probably going to be like 200 or something like that. But no, it's at 185. So the control aspect definitely adds to that. So don't be fooled by the BPM here. You have to persevere to get a really good score. And also look at this chart. There's so much diff in it. Difficulty different.
Okay. I
Like,
wanted to point.
yeah, I guess you could say that to get the point, you don't want to get diffed by your opponent.
Wow.
Get differentiated.
You gotta persevere.
Yeah. No, I wanted to point out that this map actually boasts a pretty high OD of 8. So it's actually even more difficult than the coordination oriented map itself.
Well, to be fair though, it is more quote unquote straightforward than like an Ellen control and release chart. However, we have to give this chart some credit because look, 4,000 combo. I can see why the song name is Perseverance. The charter here definitely gave it justice by forcing you to really go over the top when it comes to that endurance because this is gonna be it's gonna feel like a marathon with that 4,000 combo here.
Yes, definitely. That is definitely one of the characteristics of this map. Going into LN number 3, it's going to be a little bit different. To complete the LN pool, it's going to be another custom map provided by Mike Leaks this time. Providing some K-pop, I think. I
Yeah.
do think that's some K-pop, yeah.
Yeah, it's K-pop. It's ITZY, so one of the
Yeah.
girl band groups that's pretty popular nowadays.
You would know. Anyway,
Of
so
course I
that's
do.
gonna be yeah, of course you'd know. But yeah, this is gonna be a fairly dumpy approach with a fair amount of shields here and there. So it's very much more rigid than Switch, which was the hybrid number one. I would say Switch as a hybrid number one is a lot more flowier than Algorithm. They might seem similar in some places, but overall, I would say that algorithm requires a lot more coordination than Switch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm starting to see a little bit of more like interesting snappings. Very interesting short long notes that kind of do feel a little bit more unintuitive, maybe you could call it that.
Mhm.
It's definitely a lot more release oriented with how staggered some of these releases are. Yeah, there's just a lot of control needed for this.
Man, if this was in a tournament, I would be terrified to play this. You gotta remember 1 minute and 59 seconds. That length is going to kill you if you get so many 200s. Because this chart is gonna be one of those where you have to play extremely well in such a short span of time. So you gotta be careful. Like, this is the epitome of. It's basically just make one mistake. It's pretty much gonna be difficult to get the point.
Also, I wanted to point out final ver, cut ver.
Oh, oh, that is true. I just noticed that. Yeah.
It was just cut off like 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes, but pretty intense 2 minutes, I'll be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's the essence of this LN, and it does balance out the against the consistency required for LN2, and I would say also the consistency required for LN1. This one is going to be much more of of kind of a bursty type of LN. Just kind of throw it at your opponent to show that you're dominating in terms of LNs. A lot of people banned polyrhythm in Rana 64. I do expect people to kind of look at this and say, yeah, no, I cannot do this.
What if people were banning it just because it's polyrhythm?
Wait a minute. Polyrhythm? Oh,
Algorithm?
okay. I was like, wait, the SV chart? Oh, wait, never mind. Never mind.
Well, it is the ESV song, yeah, but it was mapped as an LN. But that is not the
Oh
topic
man.
of the upcoming map, which is going to be the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker is not something that we would expect in any tournament. And it is a very strange choice, but that we will try to justify in a second.
So it's a
Okay.
meme. Okay, well, first of all, I guess you could say, I mean, it is the essence of what abstraction is. So take it away, Pataraj.
Yeah, so we'll try to abstract the justification for this tiebreaker pick. If you look at the amount of LNs and rice in this pick, you would notice that there's a lot more LNs than there are rice in this map. So you would think, yeah, well, this TB is LN oriented. Why would you put this as a tiebreaker? But you should also see the map itself. The map itself has a lot of short LNs and is also OD 6.8. So the LNs are going to be comparatively easier to handle than in a regular pick, but the coordination required to handle those longer LNs is still there. So it's going to be a unique challenge of trying to get those very short LNs right in terms of timing, which is a very niche skill set that isn't exactly covered by any LN category or rice category or hybrid category, because it's just handling short LNs, period. So it's a very strange skill set to be testing people on, which is exactly why it's the tiebreaker. You just test people on something else that breaks the tie.
I guess that's why it's called a tiebreaker.
I mean, exactly. I mean, what else would it be? It's not like you're going to repair the tie or keep the tie. It would be tie keeper or something, but it is a tiebreaker.
You're
But-
indeed breaking
yeah.
the tie.
So
I
I'm very
have to
curious.
say-
Yeah, I'm very
Go ahead.
curious
You
to
go first. You
see-
go first.
Yeah, sure. I'm very curious to see how well people are going to do on this, because I would say a lot of teams are going to be side treating the tiebreaker because it's very long. Not necessarily everyone has the time to study this, but this is something that if you train this, you're going to gain a fair amount of value because they're going to handle those short LNs better than the other team.
I think the main strategy going into this, at least if I were a player, is just kind of like play it once, get the idea of how short the long notes can be at certain points, when to keep it long, when to keep it short, and then just kind of bowl and do whatever because it's OD 6.8. I mean, it's pretty interesting for a pick. I would say it is definitely under layers of irony. I'm pretty sure you have to approach this tiebreaker a little bit differently from how you would approach maybe other tiebreakers. It's not really about structure. I think it's more about the map concept itself that you have to kind of grasp and really just, well, take it by the collar and just go and do it. It's really weird. I'm gonna be honest, it's really weird. But I guess that's just the essence of Abstraction Cup.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, who can imagine having a meme for tiebreaker in a non-ironic tournament? Having a meme for my tiebreaker? No way, man. Oh, what the hell is that burst, man? Ooh.
Wow. What? There's just so much going on here. I mean, it can be a meme. Maybe as a spectator, you'd be like, oh, this tiebreaker is funny, it's a meme. But when you're the player, it's not gonna be a meme. It's gonna be like, oh, it's your tournament journey is on the line. You're either gonna be continuing on the winner's bracket, or you could be eliminated in the loser's bracket, or many things. That's why I really find it funny that it's called the meme, because when you're in the match, this is definitely not gonna be fun to like just play, especially when you're nervous. Like, what are these bursts? What are these rolls with the LNs on it?
I bet your first reaction when you play this is get
Yeah,
it?
that's true. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. My reaction when I play an map.
Though, there is something I'm a bit really worried about. Unless players will choose no fail, look at that HP, 9.2.
That is true.
Players, you have to pick no. You have to get no fail when you're playing this because that HP is brutal. 9.2 essentially means you have to hold it combo, or at least get really good accuracy. It's gonna be really hard to pass it without no fail. But also, what in the world is this score? 991k.
With all those schlongs, yeah, that's very difficult to get. Even Curry
With all-
themselves, even Curry themselves told us that, yeah, this is hell to hack. This is hell to hack, even at OD 6.8.
I mean, I can definitely tell that those short long notes aren't that easy to kind of get a good accuracy on, even at that kind of OD. So, well, we have definitely a lot of these technical challenges, a lot of these really weird challenges being posed to you in this tournament. You kind of just have to treat it like a puzzle and solve it with your fingers.
But yeah, that is going to be it for the Mappool showcase. That is going to be the round of 32. We are just waiting on everyone to upload their maps, and we are going to ping y'all in the Discord once we release everything. And y'all are going to be able to test this Mappool by yourselves and see how bad it is, essentially.
Wow. Okay, that's a bold statement right there.
I'm sure you will be able to abstract a lot of information from this Mappool showcase.
That is true, but okay, yeah, that's a good one. I'll take that.
I mean, gotta continue the theme, you know.
Exactly. Though, I'll have to say, good luck to all of the players here. This is a really difficult pool, so there's gotta be a lot of strategy involved here. A lot of charts where it's gonna be either the edges or probably like some of those misses, which will decide it. So I'm really looking forward to how these players are gonna perform. And knowing how stacked the players are here, I know it's gonna be a really good set of scores we're gonna be seeing this weekend.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Oh, you're saying?
Nothing. You can go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying because Abstraction Cup has been like pretty interesting to see so far. Because I think number one, it comes down to song choices, right? Like when you're faced with a lot of music that doesn't feel very generic. Well, not really generic, but you know, not your heart pumping rhythm game music or dojin music, and then you have a bunch of really abstract genres just being thrown your way. I think kind of makes for a very different kind of experience. At least I felt that way, even just watching round of 64. So I think in round 32 it's even more bizarre. Like you could say it's like a little bit of a bizarre adventure, you know, like the other thing. But I feel like
a bizarre adventure.
Yeah.
I guess you could make it Abstraction Cup, and the next one can be Bizarre Cup. That's gonna be ABC, right there.
Abstraction Bizarre Cup, the ABC.
You should add a division. So
that's true. That's
A B C D.
Oh wow! Okay, ABCD.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go again.
Oh my god! I think we're just.
I think we're losing our brains right here because it's like I don't know, it's like almost midnight in Asia. But anyway, that was not what I was saying. I was just saying the experience has been pretty interesting so far. I think with the song choices we have in round of 32, well this tournament is bound to be even more interesting. I kind of really want to see how people are gonna handle this Mappool, and if anyone will get into that tiebreaker that is completely not a meme and under layers of irony. I think it would be pretty interesting to see that match.
Yes, indeed. I'm very curious to see how it's gonna go this weekend. So yeah, stay tuned for more pings, especially regarding the schedules, because it is also very important that y'all players schedule and reschedule your matches properly to be able to play. But with that said, I think we can close this stream as all of what we had to say has been said.
I think I've made enough memes today and puns, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Same
stop.
here. Yeah, same
I'm
here.
hungry.
Yeah, same here. I gotta control myself too. But it's been a wonderful time commentating with you two, Paturages and Polytetral. Thanks so much for having me here. I really do appreciate the time and the offer.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wasn't a commentator for this tournament, but I just felt like I needed to say something at this time, at this hour. So, yeah, happy to be here with you guys.
Yippee.
Yippee. I think I guess we're gonna be ending the stream here. I think everything that needs to be said has been said. The poll will be posted later on. You may see a new embed for that one. I'm working on it. And yeah, I think that's all from us.
Yeah, the streamer is screaming at us because we're spending
taking
too
too
long on the
long.
outro. Yeah, this is the longest outro ever. Just say goodbye, bro.
Goodbye.
Yes.
Fine. Goodbye. Bye.
It's
Bye.
bye.
Bye.